it was an amazing summer. Um, that was a Wednesday, the third Wednesday, and we had a department heads meeting that day. And I also was supposed to be, everybody was supposed to be turning in a survey that day at the department heads meeting or right after. And mine wasn't finished. And I had told Cynthia that mine was not finished, but I was going to get up early and I was going to get it done and get to the meeting. So first thing in the morning, Cynthia calls me and says, "Are you up?" And I said, "Yeah." She's like, "No, you're not." I said, "I am up." And she's like, "No, you're not, because the girls don't have to go to school." And I was like, "Whatever." And she's like, "Feet on the floor." And I was like, "Yes, I know. I'm going to get this thing done." And I'm in my head thinking, I might not get this thing done. What they going to do, fire me? I'm like, I'll get the survey in. I said, I'm going to get it in. She said, well, I got to go to the branch because I got to get some stuff. And I got to let in the guy for pest control. And I said, oh, okay. She said, so just let them know if I'm running late. Mm-hmm. I said, cool, I got you. So I got up, got stuff done and everything. And then as I'm heading into the branch, she calls and says, yes, so now I've got one other thing that's going on here at the branch, so I am definitely going to be running late. And I was like, okay, cool, no problem, I'm on my way. I'll let them know. So I get to the main library, and I believe Cynthia Bledsoe know, I think, our deputy director. I think that's who I let know, that she was on her way. And I went and sat in my seat. And as much as I love Cyn, that her being late was not going to be that out of line, like that unusual, but she was going to be late for a legitimate reason. Uh-huh. So we're in the meeting, and she comes in with this bright green sweater and goes over to her seat by the window. I'm like, I wave two fingers at her like peace, and she's like nods her head at me, but she's comfortable because she knows I already told them she was going to be late, so she's not going to get like dinged on an evaluation for being late. And I think I had even told the facilities person, because it was facilities related that was going on, that what was happening. So yeah. So then we got out of that meeting, and I had my survey done, turned my little thing in, and the regional managers were going to be having another meeting. Well, I was a large branch manager, and so I didn't have to stay for that. And so, I was getting ready to leave, and they were all also going to go out to lunch together. But my branch was short-staffed, so I had to leave. I had to go back to my branch. And so I left. We talked a little bit, but I left, and that was no big deal. Later on, she calls me, and I had recently started this thing called 52 Small Changes based on this book by that name, where I was like, gonna just do one thing each week, and that one thing is gonna help, like drink more water or walk or whatever. And so she knew I was on my 52 small changes, and my change was that I was going to limit how much French fries I ate. Because I could have like a line item in my personal budget for French fries, and it would be like $7 a week or more, because I'm stopping, and it could be McDonald's or it could be Chick-fil-A or Bojangles. It doesn't matter, but it was going to be about $5 to $7 a week on just French fries, which is bizarre. So when she called me, I happened to be in the drive-thru because I had picked up something. I don't know why. I was at the drive-thru. I guess I had a late lunch or something. And she said, "Am I hearing a microphone?" Mm-hmm. And I said, "Yeah, but I just had to get some." "Are you getting French fries?" "Lady, don't get her French fries." And I was like, "Ma'am, I'm so sorry. Forgive her." And I'm trying to put her on mute, and it's just everything I'm trying to like stop at. "Can you hear me? Stop it." And so she was like, "I thought you're not eating French fries." And I was like, "But I'm walking tonight. You want to walk with me?" And she's like, "I can't walk tonight." I said, "Well, I was going to get my cousin to walk with me, who's another teacher. She's a speech therapist. So I was going to get my cousin to walk with me. I guess I'll walk Park Circle And she's like, no, I can't do it tonight. And I was like, well, we can do it the weekend. She had a birthday coming up. We can do it this weekend. How about that? Because we like to walk on the pier at Mount Pleasant. And so she's like, that's cool. And we got off the phone. And I went back to work. And when I got back to work, who did I see but Sharonda Singleton? And I had met her. We had gone to a comedy concert. Cynthia, Sharonda, and I had been at a comedy concert, and Cynthia introduced her as Reverend Sharonda Singleton. But also, she would say, "But just Sharonda," and just very funny, nice lady. I was like, "Ooh, that's a sassy haircut." And she said, "Oh, you like it?" And I was like, "Ooh, I love it." And we hugged, and I went on and ate my French fries, and finished my day. And I did not talk to her again that evening. And then later that night, I remember talking to my auntie and a retired teacher from Rivers Middle School. And got off the phone, and I missed a call from Cynthia. Mm-hmm. Which was not weird. I mean, sometimes you just miss a call and you call back later. And I went to sleep. And then my grandma woke me up out of my sleep and said, "You see what's going on to Emmanuel?" And I said, "To Emmanuel? Oh, Lord, is it another fire?" And she said, "No, turn on the news." So I turned on the news, and I was just stuck. So, a shooting at Emmanuel on a Wednesday night? Bible study night? I started calling her back, and she wouldn't answer. Her call that I missed was at 8:48 p.m. And so there's Grandma's call, mm-hmm. And I started calling her back, and I was stuck. And then I remembered that earlier that year, when we had that political program, she had called me and said, that was April, she had called me and said she couldn't come MC the program with the councilman because she was at the ER at St. Francis. Mm. And I said, "What? Okay, I'll be right there." She's like, "No, you got your program." "Girl, I'll be right there." So I went to there, and she had been taken to St. Francis from St. Andrew's Library because she was having chest pains. Mm. And so her assistant manager, Cheryl, was there with her, and I said, "I'll stay with her. We're good. We're good." And they checked her out and everything, and they wanted her to be home for a few days, and she couldn't talk much to me. So I went in her phone and took a screenshot of her niece's number, and then I went back in her phone again and took a screenshot of her brother's number, and then she couldn't unlock the phone again for me, so I was like, "That's okay, I got it." And I started calling them that night to make sure that they can meet me at her house, because I wasn't going to be able to get her up the stairs. But when everything happened that Wednesday night of the massacre, I said, I got their numbers. And I scrolled back in my phone, and I called her niece and asked her, had she talked to Cynthia? And she hadn't. And I had called a friend of mine and asked her to please, just go drive by her house and see if she just, not answering the phone. I had called the College of Charleston library to see if she was there. I just kept calling everybody I could think to call, and by morning, basically by early morning, the conversations were clearer that she was in fact at the church. The, I guess, investigators or whatever had called the library to make sure of what she was wearing, to be able to positively say that that's who was in the church, because they had already identified the other people, but there were some who thought that maybe she was someone else, maybe Reverend Brenda Nelson, who had been at the church earlier. Because Cynthia, she went to Bible study quite often. She had been a lay president before. She'd go, but I guess because there was a meeting that night as well, and some other things going on, they were just really making sure about who was there. Her husband was a merchant seaman, and he was abroad, so it was just kind of a confusing kind of night and morning. And so that morning, I went to her house that Thursday morning, because actually that Thursday night, she was supposed to MC for me, to make up for the MCing she didn't do in April. She was supposed to MC the evening of jazz with Ann Caldwell and Roger Bello on that Thursday, to make up for the April, and so we canceled all of that. But I went to her house and I sat on her porch and was like, look, you called me and I missed your call. So in my head, I'm thinking the FBI must have you and sequestered, make sure that they can get all information or something, and you were just kind of reaching out on a slick to let me know that you were good, and everything else is just whatever the world's trying to say right now. But they're just trying to protect you because you already reached out and you already know you're good. Mm-hmm. But that wasn't that. And I got to the library, and soon her husband called and we talked on the phone, and it was all clear what had happened, and our director closed us down. And by the next day that we went back over to the library in the morning, I just went to just check on everything, and I went to go clear her mail and everything. There were flowers in front of the building, and there was this real need to let the older kids who had known her know that we appreciated what they were saying, and let the community know that we honored their loss, but that we were having a loss too.